Every city has a memory. Streets remember the millions of footsteps that have crossed them. Buildings hold the echoes of voices, laughter, and secrets shared within their walls. But what happens when a city forgets? What happens when its memory begins to corrupt, to fray at the edges, leaving behind something fractured, something alien? This is the story of Manila, the day it started to lose itself. It began with whispers, with things you'd dismiss as a trick of the mind. At first it was subtle, a shadow stretching in the wrong direction, defying the afternoon sun. A plume of smoke from a street vendor's grill hanging motionless in the humid air, before snapping back into its source as if being rewound. People laughed it off. A trick of the light, they'd say. A strange optical illusion. A glitch in the feed of reality. In a bustling barangay court, a basketball game played out under the harsh sun. For a split second, a player driving to the hoop would duplicate, a phantom image trailing him for a heartbeat before vanishing. Kids would point and laugh, thinking their eyes were playing tricks on them after staring at their phones for too long. No one connected the dots. They were just isolated, bizarre moments in a city already brimming with the wonderfully weird. We saw them as digital artifacts bleeding into our analog world, harmless quirks in the fabric of daily life. We were so wrong. The city wasn't just glitching, it was learning to forget, and we were the memories it was starting to erase. But the city was rewriting itself. The subtle quirks grew into flagrant impossibilities. Language bent, signs flickering between languages they were never written in. A sorry store sign that had read, "Open 24/7, for years, suddenly flashed in ancient Tagalog script, then to unreadable jagged symbols that hurt the eyes. Time stuttered. You'd step onto an MRT train at one station, and the doors would open to reveal an endless hallway of mirrors, reflecting your own confused face into infinity. You'd blink, and you'd be at your destination, with no memory of the journey in between. The fundamental laws we took for granted began to fray. Even gravity forgot its role. A child's kite, caught by a breeze in Luneta Park, soared high into the sky and then just stopped. It hung there, motionless against the clouds, a frozen splash of color refusing to fall, a monument to a world coming undone. The unease was a low hum beneath the city's noise now, a shared, unspoken dread that something was fundamentally broken. The tricks of the light were no longer amusing. They were omens. Then came the collapse. The glitches weren't just happening to objects anymore. They were happening to the very structure of the city. The iconic EDSA highway, that concrete artery of Manila, twisted into an impossible Mobius strip. Cars drove endlessly in circles, drivers oblivious, trapped in a loop of asphalt and exhaust fumes, forever commuting but never arriving. Landmarks lost their meaning. The historic bell of an old church in Intramuros rang at noon as it always did, but the sound that emerged wasn't a comforting chime. It was a blast of distorted, screeching digital static, a dial-up modem screaming into the heavens. The infection spread to us. People's faces began to blur, to pixelate into censored masks as if reality itself was trying to protect our identities, or perhaps delete them. We thought we were watching the city glitch, a fascinating, terrifying spectacle. But maybe the city was watching us. Maybe it was identifying the anomalies, the foreign data points that didn't belong. Maybe it was us. The final revelation wasn't a sudden explosion, but a quiet, creeping horror that settled deep in your bones. What if this was never our city to begin with? What if we were the virus, the glitch in a system that was far older and stranger than we could ever comprehend? And what if the city, this vast, unknowable entity, was finally trying to erase us, to restore its original programming? You'd look into a puddle on the street, and the reflection staring back wouldn't be yours. It would be a stranger, with eyes that knew a different Manila, a different world. The vibrant street murals, The art that gave the city its soul began to peel off the concrete walls, not crumbling to the ground, but floating upwards like phantom sheets of paper, dissolving into the hazy sky. The skyline itself, that familiar silhouette of steel and glass, began to fold inward. Skyscrapers bent like origami, creasing and collapsing into impossible geometric shapes, until the horizon was an unrecognizable, broken line. We weren't residents anymore. We were errors, waiting to be deleted. Every city has a memory. But memories can be corrupted. They can be overwritten. And when the system becomes too unstable to sustain the foreign data, the city starts again. It hits reset. It clears the cache. The world we knew was just a corrupted file, a temporary layer over the original truth. And as the static overtook everything, a final clean image broke through the noise. A single jeepney, bright and clear, driving across a void of pure static. A new beginning. A clean slate. The city, finally, at peace.